Along with replacing the wax and other Hunt's capacitors, I have also replaced a good number of resistors. Certainly not before time, as most are measured way off tolerance. Now I will plug this radio into the mains and do a quick power test.
Do what he had wanted to do, and he had a nervous breakdown.
Plenty of volume there. That's
to save from it
long wave
by getting a job in
radio
Chicago.
4.
No, doubly low voice. Well, that's what happens when you talk about the lowest.
Turn the volume down. Shortwave is quite lively. I think I'll just check the voltages, see whether they bear up to what I calculated them to be. As for the voltage coming out of pin 7, the cathode of the EZ40 rectifier valve, which is providing me with a reading of 265 volts, and as for the HT rail, I am reading 208 volts, which goes some distance to lend support that I was not too far from what I said in part 2, that there was likely to be 265 to 270 VDC coming out of pin 7 of the EZ40. There was a current draw of around 23 milliamps, and to achieve a HT rail voltage of 206 volts I required a resistance of 2.7 kiloohms. Now I will point to a couple of items where the small, seemingly insignificant aspects of vintage radio repairs will likely make all the difference. Replacing rubber grommets on the tuning capacitor, just there, that show signs of having lost elasticity, is important. They act as a sort of shock absorber. Secondly, examine the mains lead. No matter how insignificant damage may appear, replace it. This mains lead, known over here as American style mains lead, looks to be in reasonably good condition, but it is non-regulation, since spindle insulated wire has not been regulation since the mid-1970s. It has to be replaced with double insulated type. The mains plug is also non-regulation. Its prongs are not part insulated. This salvaged length of brown mains lead here before the camera is double insulated, having the usual brown and blue inner connecting wires. Connected onto one end will be this part insulated live and neutral pronged mains plug. The other end of this mains lead will be soldered directly onto the volume and main switch combined control of this radio. Oh, and just one other small point. Be aware, valve connecting pins can tarnish. If I extract the ECH 41 or the EF 41 for that matter, the other valves have been cleaned, we can see the pins have become tarnished over time. in this instance 60 years. I've known tarnished pins affect a radio's performance, though it doesn't happen that often. I check them, and if tarnished, I clean them with a fibre brush and a little tool. But if you use one, beware, the small fibres can irritate one's skin. That is why I'm cleaning the pins over this pedal bin. I'd say those pins are now sufficiently shiny, almost dazzling. I would not recommend cleaning valve base fork connectors by similar means. The small connecting forks break very easily. All I do to clean valve bases is to squirt switch cleaner into the little fork holes. If one has problems with a valve base beyond squirting a little switch cleaner, replace a valve base. As far as I'm concerned, this radio is functional, and it is functioning reasonably well. So much so, I'll give the cabinet a quick wash, internally as well as externally. Then, when dry, I'll secure this chassis back into place, refix the knobs and the back cover, and declare it repaired. Now the cabinet, back cover and knobs have been washed with a little of washing up liquid squirted into a bowl of warm water and allowed the cabinet time to dry, I have the radio chassis secured into place and working. The shiny new EL84 I have fitted as replacement for the EL41 does not look too out of place. Those two valves are of similar dimensions.
Well, you have to pay for it through general taxation, no question about that.
That kind of policy exemplifies Corbyn's devotion to an economic...
I missed some of the conversation, but where I keep... I said it, and I guess I said, but you had me under your thumb.
Although I have not cleaned the radio chassis in my usual manner, and I'll polish the cabinet at my leisure, the object of this video was not a restoration exercise. Rather, it was produced to present a scenario of a time in the not so distant future where a vintage radio enthusiast owning a radio of immense desire is faced with either fitting authentic components obtainable via some great effort at outrageous prices purely because they are scarce, or to fit more readily available substitute parts obtainable at reasonable prices. At present, the general availability of spare parts for vintage radios is bearing up reasonably well, unless someone somewhere in the world starts manufacturing old style components. Existing stocks will eventually become no more. In truth, that has already started. Until next time, I will leave you with that thought. This is Phil saying 73s to each and every one of you.